Jeremy Fink and the Meaning of Life, Chapter 18, The State Fair. The next morning, Grandma gets up early. It's the first day of the fair, and she has to drop off her homemade jam and find out what table she's assigned in the table setting competition. How come Mom doesn't have to enter anything? I grumble over scrambled eggs. Normally, I would never eat eggs, but I eat Grandma's scrambled eggs because she mixes them with mini M&Ms. Mom refuses to try that at home. Your mother didn't lose a bet, Grandma replies, pouring orange juice for a yawning Lizzie. You two did. We learned our lesson, Lizzie says. We'll never bet on anything again. Now can we go back to sleep? This is supposed to be a vacation. Grandma shakes her head. You can sleep in tomorrow. You'll want to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for the competition on Tuesday. Is that a cat thing? I ask. Is what a cat thing? Grandma asks, sitting down across from me. The bright-eyed and bushy-tailed thing you just said. Oh, I don't think so. Could be, I guess. Lizzie rolls her eyes between bites of egg. Even on vacation, he has to know everything. It's a saying, that's all. Every saying comes from somewhere, I mutter. It's about a squirrel, a man's voice says from behind a newspaper at the table. Thank you, I tell him, vindicated. He rustles the paper in response. I turn back to Lizzie. Now don't you feel better knowing? I'd feel better if I were back into bed. Hey, where's Mom? I ask. Grandma pushes back her chair and pours more coffee for other guests before answering. She's running some errands for me so I can bring you two to the fair. Now hurry up and finish before all the cotton candy is sold out. Grandma sure knows how to motivate people. As soon as Grandma pays the entrance fee and we walk through the gate, I inhale deeply. Funnel cake, cotton candy, fudge, corn dogs. This is what heaven must smell like. I stop short as we pass a booth that is new this year. A man in a red apron is dipping a Twinkie on a stick into the fried dough they use to make funnel cakes. It's a fried dough Twinkie. My mouth waters. I have to wipe the drool off my shirt. Later, Grandma promises. After he hands the Twinkie to the luckiest little girl in the universe, the man shoves a stick in the end of a Snickers and dips it. A fried dough Snickers? This man is brilliant! I let myself be pulled away, only for Grandma to cross her heart and swear upon all this is holy that she will let me buy one of those before we leave. On the way to drop off jars of jam, we pass the pig races and the tractor pull. Both have huge crowds cheering on the contestants. Lizzie takes a flyer announcing the time for each race. I'm going to give it to Rick when we get home, she says, tucking in her pocket. I'll tell him we won both the pig race and the tractor pull. Grandma hurries us past the booths where men in costumes are yelling in the megaphones. Come see the world's smallest woman. She's here. She's real. She'll even talk to you. Only 50 cents for the experience of a lifetime. Come see the world's largest horse all the way from Amish country. You won't believe how huge he is. Grandma isn't Amish country. Like only our away in Pennsylvania? I ask, slowing down. Should I tell him? I think he knows, Grandma says. These people will say anything to make a buck. Oh, you mean like the lady who guessed our weights last year? Lizzie asks. Exactly, Grandma says. Aha! Lizzie and I pounce. So you admit she was cheating, I exclaim. And you still made that bet. Grandma's lips tighten. Okay, I knew it was a scam, but trust me, you'll thank me after the show. Lizzie puts her hands on her hips, and I thought Grandma was supposed to be sweet and loving, and you couldn't. Whoops, my pages are sticking together. Hold on. There we go. I'm going to read that sentence again. Lizzie puts her hands on her hips, and I thought grandmas were supposed to be sweet and loving and not someone who would trick their grandson and practically adopted granddaughter into losing a bet. Ah, yes, Grandma says, but sometimes grandmothers need to do what they think is best for their grandson and practically adopted granddaughter by opening their eyes to different experiences. That's the only way you'll learn for what you're capable of. Now hurry up, my jams are melting. Reluctantly, Lizzie and I trail behind as Grandma goes into the crafts and cooking tent. Tables full of tomato sauces, jams, cookies, quilts, bird feeders, and pies greet us. Some have ribbons attached to them already. They either say excellent, very good, good, or fair. I don't see any that say eh or poor or the worst thing I ever tasted. I wait while Grandma registers at the main table and then sticks a label with the number 22 on her jars, and she's putting her jam among the others. I ask her if anyone ever loses. She shakes her head. I'm about to question her further on why anyone would ever enter a contest where everybody wins, but I'm distracted by 3 Asian girls giggling and pointing at Lizzie. I hurry over and pull Lizzie away from the giant pumpkins she's admiring. For some reason, those girls are pointing at you. She turns around. Who? I don't need to answer because the group is now approaching her. The girls keep pushing each other ahead and then falling back giggling. Finally, one of them steps up to Lizzie. You must really love turnips, she says, and breaks into another fit of giggles. Lizzie stares at her and glances at the table of pumpkins. There aren't any turnips here. Huh? What do you mean? The girl points to Lizzie's arm. Your tattoo. It says turnip. No, it doesn't, Lizzie says crossly. It says life. The girls now fall on top of each other. They are laughing so hard. We exchange worried glances. Doesn't it? Lizzie asks in a small voice. The girls shake their head. Lizzie quickly unrolls her sleeve and pushes it down to cover the tattoo. She grabs me by the arm. Come on, Jeremy, let's get out of here. We leave the girls behind, although their laughter follows us outside the tent. It is taking all my self-control not to laugh too. Well, it's official, Lizzie says. We can't trust anyone selling anything on the Atlantic City boardwalk. Would a fried Snickers on a stick make you feel better? It might. While we wait for my grandmother to come out, Lizzie licks her finger and rubs the tattoo. It smears a little, but it's still there. As promised, we stop at the new booth, and Grandma buys one of us each kind, with a fried Twinkie in one hand and a fried Snickers in the other. Even Lizzie can't stay angry for long. I don't even know what a turnip looks like, she mutters as we find a bench to sit on while Grandma goes to the table setting event to get her assignment. How could I love turnips when I don't even know what they look like? You couldn't, I say, taking off a bite of the first Twinkie. Then the Snickers. They taste as good as I knew they would. This tattoo is supposed to wear off in a week. It's been a week. Don't worry, you smeared it so much no one can tell if it says life, turnip, or go Yankees. Swear, swear. Just for that, I'll let you use my hula hoop when we get back to the inn. Very funny. No, you were really good. I finish up the last bite of Snickers and toss the stick into the garbage. Yeah, I know. We spend the rest of the day practicing the routine and most of the next day too. Lizzie can catch the football with her eyes closed now. Maybe Grandma was right and the talent show wouldn't be so bad. The announcer clears his throat and booms into a mic. You will be scored on stage presence, confidence, originality, and entertainment value. Lizzie leans over to me. What about my good looks? Don't they count for anything? Shh! We're sitting in the front row along with the rest of the contestants. I don't want any of the 3 judges to be annoyed with us before the show has even started. The announcer goes on to introduce the judges, a bald Broadway producer, a talent agent, and a guy who sings jingles and commercials. While everyone claps, I take a moment to check out the competition. The kid on the other side of me is picking his nose, and the girl next to him is chewing on her hair. At the end of the row, the 3 girls who pointed out Lizzie's tattoo and dressed in matching leotards and glittery boots. I don't think Lizzie has seen them yet, which is a good thing. She might say she's not nervous, but she's repeatedly pulling the strands of fake grass on her skirt. And now, dancing to the classic disco hit, It's Raining Men, we have the 3 Sioux sisters. Everyone claps as the 3 girls climb up to the stage. Lizzie's eyes narrow, and she sinks in a little into her chair. The music comes on, skips a little, and then plays normally. The girls have this whole routine with umbrellas, and they're actually very good. People in the audience started singing along. I turn around to wave at Mom and Grandma in the 3rd row. Mom's all set with her video camera. I can't believe I have to do this. I had made it nearly 13 years without having to be on stage. It goes against everything I hold dear. At least it will be over soon, and after all, Lizzie's doing all the hard work. The girls finish, take a few too many bows if you ask me, and sit back down. Next up is a boy playing the violin, followed by a brother and sister singing a duet. The violin boy was pretty painful, but the singers weren't bad. I nudge Lizzie. We're next. She nods, her cheeks a bit pale. And now, allow me to present Lizzie Molden, the best hula hooper in the East. She will be assisted by her friend, Jeremy Fink. The audience applauds politely as we climb up to the stage. I have all Lizzie's props in my duffel bag, and I set it to the side. I look toward the center of the stage where Lizzie is supposed to be, except she's not there. I whirl around to find her standing behind me, slightly off stage. She's waving me over. I hold up for 1 minute to the judges and hurry over to Lizzie. What are you doing? I hiss. We're on. Lizzie shakes her head super fast. Can't go on, she says, clutching her stomach. Cramps. You have got to be kidding me, I say. How long do these things last? I'm sorry, she says. I don't know what to do. The audience is getting restless. I can hear them murmuring. I lean closer. But you worked so hard. Can't you just push through it? She shakes her head again. You could go on in my place. I can't hula, but I could still toss your props. What? No way! The Broadway judge comes up on stage. Is there a problem? I don't know how to answer. Lizzie yanks off her grass skirt and shoves it in my hand. Jeremy's going on in my place. I'll assist him. The judge lifts one eyebrow, but says, All right, we just need to get a move on. 10 seconds. Please do this for me, Jeremy, Lizzie pleads. I'll make it up to you somehow. You know my whole routine. I'll be right there with you. 5 seconds, the judge calls out. This is a prime example of why I hate surprises. I look widely out at the audience to Mom and Grandma. They're standing at their seats with stricken looks on their face. I point to Lizzie's belly. Grandma looks confused, but Mom whispers to her, then Grandma starts chanting, Jeremy, Jeremy. To my horror, others in the audience join me. There must be 100 stamping their feet and shouting my name. It's like a scene from a bad teen movie where the lovable loser finally runs for a touchdown or approaches the popular girl in school. Our music starts to play over the loudspeakers. Someone's got to go right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, 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 and apparently that someone is me. I pull the skirt up over my shorts. It barely reaches past my knees. I grab the hula hoop from Lizzie's hand and move in the center of the stage. I read from where that because of the spotlight shining in their eyes, a person on stage can't see the crowd. I guess that doesn't apply in a tent in the middle of the day, because I can clearly see everyone's expectant faces. To my surprise, the crowd cheers even before I start moving my hips. I take a deep breath, put the hula hoop in place around my waist, and get a solid rhythm going. I nod to Lizzie that it's time to toss me the football. I catch it and easily toss it back. I'm only half aware that I'm actually doing this, because most of my brain is occupied with what Lizzie could possibly do to make this up to me. I'm pretending I'm alone in the living room at the end, rather than doing the hula in the grass skirt in front of 100 of strangers. Otherwise, I know I'll freeze up. A minute later, she tosses the banana. I begin to unpeel it and bring it to my lips when I remember that I hate bananas. I force myself to take a bite, then swallow quickly and make a face. I toss the rest of the banana behind me and it hits the curtain. The crowd roars with laughter. I hadn't meant to be funny. After what seems like forever, it's actually only 1 minute and 53 seconds. We reach to the finale where I pop open a soda, drink some, and then reach down to the rested on the floor next to me, all while huluing. The hoop rotates around my knees until the music stops, then I flip it up around my neck and bow. My head clears along enough to applause to register. I admit it kind of feels nice. The last time people applauded for me was when I won the 6th grade spelling bee by correctly spelling the word neurotic. Lizzie scrambles across the stage to pick up the props, and I pull off the skirt and run down the steps. Mom and Grandma rush up to greet us. I turn to Grandma. Is this the part where I'm supposed to thank you? You were wonderful, she says. If you can do that, what can't you do? Mom pats her video camera. And I got it all on film. Then to Lizzie, she says, Are you okay, honey? Lizzie nods. I'm really sorry, Jeremy, but you were really, really good. Better than I would have done. I know that's not true, but the next act is starting, so we sit down to watch. 10 more acts follow. Most do singing or dancing routines or play some sort of instrument, but one does a stand-up comedy act and one girl plays the bongos with her feet. While the judges add up the scores, people keep coming up to shake my hand and tell me how much guts that took. The whole thing was such a blur. If not for the lingering feel of the hoop around my waist, I can almost believe I dreamt it. Never in a million years I think I could have hula hooped in a grass skirt in a talent show. I wonder what else I could do that I never thought I could. I try to convince my mom to let me run out for a fried dough Twinkie since there's no way we're going to win. She makes me stay. The judge finally announces that they have a winner. 3rd place goes to the Sioux sisters, who don't look thrilled when they go up to receive their $20 check and small bronze trophy. Who's laughing now? Lizzie whispers. I'm shocked to hear our name called for 2nd place. That's us, Lizzie screams, yanking me up from the chair. The judge hands Lizzie a silver trophy and a check for $35. Lizzie passes them both directly to me. It's the least I can do, she says. I don't argue. 1st place and the $50 grand prize goes to the girl who played the bongos with her feet.